Have you ever been depressed? Have you ever felt the sucking void that robs you of both joy and the motivation to seek out joy, where you intentionally put yourself in unpleasant situations just to validate how bad you feel? Cause that's what Moaning Lisa is all about, baby! Honestly, this emotional turn for Lisa does feel like it kinda comes out of nowhere considering what we've seen from her thus far, but I do want to recognize that trying to view The Simpsons of all things as a continuous journey where the trials of the past are carried onward into other episodes is one of the most foolish things that you can do when looking at this show. Each episode just kind of does its own thing, becoming like its own self-contained adventure, but sometimes they will also build on broad strokes that we know about that are rarely tasked with staying consistent, so it's really difficult to kind of square those two things together. That said, I do recognize that depressive episodes can indeed just creep up on you suddenly, crushing you under a weight that doesn't really make you burst into tears, but which does leave you feeling numb. And Lisa perfectly embodies this feeling of numbness because she reflects on grand existential questions that have no satisfying answers.
Would it make any difference at all if I never existed? How can we sleep at night when there's so much suffering in the world?
Ugh, boring. Let's get some video game carnage in here and Maggie hugging the TV. That's the icing on this diarrhea cake. Well, that and this hyper blue mega moon that exudes a calming neon glow. While I am tempted to talk about the wise advice given by Bleeding Gums Murphy and how he calls out Lisa for having very minimal problems, I think that the most important aspect of this episode is how this lady shames Homer for being a grown man who plays video games. Ugh, loser. But all kidding aside, the true takeaway from this story is how Marge deals with her daughter's depression. She is able to recognize that the advice that her mother gave her back in the day is both terrible and soul-killing, as seen when Lisa tries to put on a happy persona that other people are quick to take advantage of.
Why don't you come over to my house after practice? You can do my homework.
Yeah, that's pretty rough, but it is very cathartic when Marge puts the pedal to the metal and gets Lisa out of that goddamn situation. Ugh. But best of all, this episode does not try to fix Lisa or shame her into being okay. I think it would have been much too unnatural for Marge to have given a magic bullet solution to Lisa's depression, which is why I am so happy that Marge does not find a perfect answer. Instead, Marge says that it's fine for Lisa to be sad because her family will still be there for her even if she can't muster the strength to find her joy. And that validation is so important because depressive episodes, at least in my experience, are made much worse by someone trying to force you out of it. But I'm not going to sit here and claim that there's like a one end-all be-all strategy for dealing with depression, be that therapy, pills, having sex with somebody's mom, or playing saxophone on the street to make other people feel as bad as you do, which is what Bleeding Gums suggests. I feel that Moaning Lisa is the most adult episode of the series so far, with a reflective quality that may bore younger audiences, but will resonate deeply with anybody who has gone through periods of emotional strife or personal devastation. They could have played this episode safe by leaning into more goofy or amusing topics, but took a chance at presenting something more nuanced and introspective. This episode trusts its audience and earns my deepest respect. 10 out of 10 would smash.